All right. I think I started recording something. So, good morning once more. So, I'd like us to quickly review what we learned in our last class. Um, please, feel free to speak. What were the things we learned that you recall we did in our last class? Daniel.
Morning. Is this individual or
Yes,
general
yes,
question?
yes. It's a general question. It's a general question. No need to go individual now. What do you recall we
Hmm.
touched in our
All
last
right.
class?
Uh, what we learned is on the screen. Played already.
Uh, okay, let me open another tab. I am now. What did you learn now?
Thank you. I remember we looked at an introduction to mobile app development. We looked at what it is, how it is done using React Native as against the other ones from Apple and then Google. And then we almost delved into JavaScript. For some reason, it lost something.
You said we almost. We actually did. We actually did. All right, thank you so much. So we literally looked at what to expect from somebody's mic is echoing. Daniel, can you mute your mic, please? Daniel. All right, thank you so much. Divine, you want to speak? Okay, go ahead, Divine.
Okay, yesterday we learned about, I learned about the types of website you have when you say the portfolio website and the application website. And then we did a little introduction to mobile app development. We also talked about the overview of different mobile apps and also into introduction to programming language and so on. So we're talking about Swift, Kotlin and Java, and also about activity.
Yeah. That's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, yeah, you're actually absolutely correct. So you can bring your hands down, Divine. So, we've all spoken beautifully well. Thank you so much. Yeah, we looked at some introduction to mobile app development. We looked at the different the major operating systems. We said they are iOS and um, Android, right? And then iOS is built with Swift, Android is built with Kotlin or Java, right? And then we also try to look into JavaScript, right? And then we stated some, we mentioned some, we set some goals as to how the class is going to go, right? Introduction to JavaScript. Did we I believe we touched on that, but perhaps I may need to touch more on that. So, but just to reiterate, we said JavaScript is a front, is literally where our programming begins, the front end, and it helps us make our whatever we're building interactive, right? Helps us build um, interactive stuff, and we began looking into how to actually play around with JavaScript, right? Said before we would want to be mobile app developers, we need solid foundation of JavaScript. and then we need to know React before we can now start talking about React Native, right? And we looked at lots of things. We started looking at so we started looking at what we call alerts, right? In the last class, we started looking at the keyword alert. You know, all these programming languages, there is one thing, there's one thing peculiar between all of them, right? And what is that thing? Is that we are all giving them English. We are giving them grammar, right? We are giving them grammar, right? We are giving them grammar, right? Like this alert. When we write alert now, when we write alert, when we write alert, you see it's this pops up here, right? But alert is also an English word. How are you are also English words. So how is um how is JavaScript able to I am there now? Then you say one from middle here take am below. I am there now see how okay, we need to join am first before we raise am up. So what so we looked at alerts, we looked at this is actually another one I'm just showing to you, console.log. Remember where we are right here is called console. And anytime we come to our console, right? Normally, whenever you're browsing, console is, you remember log files now, like your history, everything you're doing in your browser. This is literally where they come. So you may not really be seeing it. Like if I come here now, you see so all these stuffs are being, so we'll still be looking into console.log a lot. It helps us get responses and all that. So from what we shared that we'll be looking into today, I think one of those things are variables and data types. Like I was trying to say earlier, what makes alert here different from this alert is a word, right? And this how are you here is another word. What this one console is a word, log is a word, hello is a word. What how is our stuff able to distinguish amongst these things, right? So we'll be looking at introduction to Java. I'll be working on that later. But let's look at data types. So so remember we also were talking about MDN
Uh,
document. Huh? Yeah, go on.
yeah, sorry. I don't know. Is it possible to actually run this on an IDE with VS Code? You can just divide your screen into two, one part for the VS Code and the other for the browser. I think it would be better that way. I don't know why you're writing exactly inside the Microsoft.
Okay. You can try that and see what happens there. Don't worry, very soon you'll see why I'm writing inside the browser also. Okay. So these are literally simple something that we're testing this. They're literally simple something. So even though I don't, well, just try your console, but there are lots of challenges. Just try your VS Code and see how that goes. So let me go to W3 School. So mainly there are literally, remember we stated everything is actually um, right here. So we're going to JavaScript data types. And as you can see, it says JavaScript has how many data types? How many data types did it say JavaScript has here? Hello,
Eight.
guys. Eight, right? But the
Eight.
main thing we will be looking at is the major thing we can actually work with is uh, there are there are three major types of there are three major data types. One of them is number, the other one is string, the other one is boolean. So um taking number for instance, when we do number is just, of course we all know what number is, right? Number, if you come to your console now and do 2 plus 3, it's giving you the answer right away. 577 plus 800. You see that? So whenever you're typing number, you notice one thing, that number 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 literally has to be on its own, right? Numbers literally have to be on their own. You don't do something like this. You don't do this. Because once you do this, you have literally said, do you know what you've said? Anytime you put um anytime you put quotation in a number, anytime you put quotation in anything, it has automatically become a string. Now, and when we use the plus in a string, what it does is that it just joins those two statements together. So it does not add them. Like here we have 245 plus 345. Because of that string between them, we have 245 345, right? So by that, we've now seen what we actually mean by string, which is the next data type we want to mention. Right? So whenever we have a quotation, we literally have worked on a string, right? So if we put anything in quotation, JavaScript identifies them as string, right? So it knows that this thing is not should not be executed. It's like a word for you to read. So that is what you can say when we talk about string. And the last thing we have here is what we call boolean. What boolean simply means is the true or false. The true or false. One equals to one. One equals to one. You see that? So one is greater than two. So boolean is another data type that we use to test and measure an attributes of if it is true or false. And we are going to be looking at a lot of things. So for the next 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, I want us to, in fact, I hope we are connecting with our laptops now, not our phones. Because right now I want us to be working on these things exactly like so. Go to your W3 schools or MDN, whichever one you want. Go to data types, and I want you to write a simple code. You can use the examples they are providing for you. Remember, we are working on mainly three: string, number, and boolean. Write a simple JavaScript code that utilizes the three major the three major um, data types. We have 15 minutes to do that. Immediately afterwards, we'll be getting into variables. Like we're going to be writing simple codes that I just want to be sure. So I'm giving you the expo now. Go to W3 schools, look into data types, write a simple code, and then we're going to explain it together. And I would also, those that kind of miss a couple things, I'll also help that out. Agreed? So in this
Yeah,
is,
I agreed,
but what?
but I'm not connected to my PC, but
So,
I want to use Reflex to write my code
okay, that's fine.
on my mobile device.
That's fine. That's fine. Those of us, you can get that's it. I think there are a couple softwares for writing codes on mobile. You can try them out, but if you have your PC around, get your PC around, open your console, or you can go to snippets. Remember when we spoke about snippets? So that it gives you the freedom of writing full codes as you wish. To locate snippet again is you come to sources, you click here, then you choose snippets, then you can write your codes here. Okay. So we have to just 15 minutes or less. All right. I'm waiting for us. We're at exactly 9:45. We should be submitting. So go on, guys. Data. Hello, guys. Hello, guys. Can we hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, come again. You said.
I think the network
The
is
network is
breaking.
breaking.
Yeah, I've actually been talking here since. I don't know that my mic kind of disconnected. So come again, you see, what did you say, please?
No, you were
No, you
asking
were
if we
asking
could
if we
hear
Could
you.
hear
So I
you.
said, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So how far now? Are we done?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
done.
I'm done.
Okay, that's fine. How about the others now? Is it just me and Divine in this class? Chikezie, Chuks, Eke and Ogboy, Daniel, Mmezi. How far now?
I'm with
I'm with
you.
you.
Are you done with
My
the
mic was
little
muted before
assignments?
now.
My
My
laptop is
laptop is
actually down
actually
at the
down at
moment,
the moment,
so I'm
so
just taking
I'm taking
notes.
notes.
Did you not hear when somebody spoke about an app on the phone?
I didn't
I
hear
didn't
that
hear
part
that
too.
part. Oh.
Even though you can still type on Google apps
I
that
think the
I
app
can code
the
with.
app is Replit. It works like VS Code.
No, that I
What's
just
the
I'm
name of the
just
app?
so
Replit,
look at.
Replit.
Are you can you see my screen?
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, please.
So this is what he's using. Replit. This is what he's
Okay.
using. And there are literally countless of them, right? So you can get that. Okay, so Divine, right? You can share your screen and let us see your let us see what you did.
You're actually sharing your screen, so I can't share mine.
I'll stop sharing right now. All right, please go ahead and share, please.
Can anybody see my screen?
Um, not really. I can't see your screen yet.
I'm coming. Let me try to set up. How about now?
Okay, it's coming up now.
Can you see?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. So let's boot the Replit. This is the app.
Okay.
Yeah. So here on my Replit, I'm using Node.js because it's a JavaScript runtime environment.
So we go connect the radio now. And router dey on. The cable, where the cable dey? Okay.
It's taking too long. Coming.
Okay. While you are setting that up, I'm going to give time.
Or is
So
it possible I just tell you the command so you just help me input it?
don't worry, I want all of us to teach each other, right? We'll get back to you shortly. So those of us here that would like to work with our
Hello,
mobile.
sir.
I've been talking here since. Sorry. I said we'll get right back to you shortly. I want all of us to actually teach ourselves so we see, let everything not be from the tutor for the tutor. Everybody has to be responsible for themselves. And I have a reason why
Okay.
I'm doing that. So let me just quickly also look into variables because I believe for this little assignment, you may need that. So on the second thing we said we want to look into here it is, we said variables and data types, right? We've only looked at data types. And now let's look at variable. Now, as you can see, this is literally, as you can see in my screen here, you're seeing this thing here called let. You're seeing let. So, um, we can we can still say the same thing for variable. We can say um, they're used to be majorly three kinds of variables in JavaScript, right? So we also have to explain what variables are, right? Now, Just a quick question. What's a variable? Anyone can just unmute his mic and speak. What's a variable?
Variable.
Variable.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Variable is
Variable
like
is like
a container. Basically, it's like a container where you store
where you
stuff
store stuff
in
in
JavaScript.
JavaScript.
Thank you so much. That's very correct. Remember, like many of us may do in our house, right? Like many of us may do in our house, we have a tin in our house, let's say a plastic, and in that plastic we put milk, we put Milo, we put sugar, and so that you somebody will not go and mistake sugar for salt or milk for what looks like milk again. What do you end up doing? You see yourself that you look for like paper tape, right? And tag them on the body. You tag it on the body. This is this, you write here sugar, you write here salt, because all this content look alike, unless somebody not go and think Milo is what other kitchen stuff is brown like Milo. I don't cook much, so I don't really know. But I know there's one brown stuff that used to be
Soya
used in
beans.
soya beans. You see, you even know. Or there's one for soup, gong, or let's say crayfish self. There's a way the crayfish will be so brown and nice. Maybe you may be cooking in the night or you have kapa. You did not perceive well. You go and do you go and do pour crayfish in pour Milo inside soup thinking it's crayfish, right? So that's the main reasons for variables. Variables are like he said, containers. We use them to identify what something is, right? And um you see, like we also stated here, there are usually like three kinds of three kinds of variables, which is var, let, and const. And we'll be looking at that shortly. So I want us to quickly go back to we'll be looking at that right away in a few minutes time. I want us to quickly go back to what our highly esteemed tutor was showing us. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. Why I just lay that foundation is so we can understand what this let here is doing, or just in case he's doing something, so that you can understand why he's doing that thing, right? This let is a variable. He say he's making a container called length, and he's storing the value inside 16. So Divine, you can go ahead. I'll be muting now, and others, please, if you have not installed your Replit, install now. Those of us with our laptop, be ready to share your screen. So, Teacher Divine, Ode, please go ahead. I'm stopping to share now.
Okay, let me
Let
share
me
my
share my
screen.
screen.
You're waiting for me before you present.
It's your call to
It's your
make now,
call to
right?
make now.
Uh, Not really. I actually gave an assignment for everybody, and I said everybody should prepare. So I think it would have really been if you had done yours, you should have just taken over immediately. Since you even saw my connection was a little bit, my audio was giving me a little challenge. Well, don't worry. Maybe, how many of us has done this stuff? How many of us here?
I tried.
I tried.
Um, who said you tried?
I did.
I did.
Is it
I tried.
Chikezie?
I tried.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daniel, what of you? How many persons? Just one
Yeah, I
person.
did mine too.
Okay. So why didn't you guys just take turns in presenting? All right, let's quickly get back to the variables we were talking about, right? Like we said earlier, we said variables are containers for storing data, right? And we made mention of the three major kinds of variables. And I even heard Divine, talking about first, talking about why he chose to use let. We'll be looking at all those things shortly. You know, normally, if you are used to any other programming language, you realize that you must have seen this kind of this var in a lot of places. We literally used to use it to assign variables almost in many programming languages, right? Var. Um, it's an old form of assigning variables, right? So it's been around for a while. It's been around for a while. And as you can see in these examples, like let's say we're using our console now. Let's say we say something like let divine equals to 20, right? Let chook equals to 40. Mistake. Let chook equals to 40. So you're seeing it's saying undefined, 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 right? And now let us say which other person's name should we use now? Okay. We have a girl in our midst. Wow, Miriam, Nancy. You guys are not saying anything. Hope you guys are part of this class, Miriam and Nancy. Let's Nancy equals to 2 plus. Hey, wait, I did not write divine, I wrote diving. 6 plus. So let's see console.log Nancy. Did you see that? Guys, can we hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Go
I
on.
can hear you. Go on.
So I created how many variables? 3 variables, right? I created 3 variables. I said variable 1 is divine, and I assigned it a value of 20. I created another variable chooks, I assigned it a value of 40. Then I created another variable Nancy, and I said Nancy is total of values of 20 and 40, right? And when you console.log the value of Nancy, you're going to see the total response. Now, in situations like this, sometimes you don't have to necessarily use the the assigning variable keyword, right? I may decide to just say without and this same thing we just did now, we can actually do that same thing for var. If I say var divine equals to 50, are you seeing the error is giving me? Are you seeing the error is giving me? What does the error say?
That
That
divine have
divine
already
have
been
already
used.
been used.
Divine has already been
It's throwing a
used, right?
syntax
Throwing a
error.
syntax error.
Yes, he's saying that's that variable that variable name has already been declared. But let me try using let again. Let's will equals to 50. You see that? So
Or excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
yeah,
How about if we just use divine? Don't put the var. Just
No,
declare
no.
divine equals to 50.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see if that will work.
It would work. I'm trying to actually point out the difference and similarities between the various um variable keywords like
Okay.
var var and let would actually do the same thing, right? But now one thing I want us to note is that let, if you are using let within the scope, if you are using let within the scope, like remember now divine used let, right? Now because of what he's writing, let's say you create a function. Hopefully we'll be looking at functions sooner so you get better understanding of what I'm saying. Let's say you create a function, right? You create a function. Let's say you create a function, and when you use let to assign values to variables within that function, you can always reassign. Just like here now, I said let dive in equals to 20. And I still said, if I say let dive in equals to 50, it is going to replace the 20 with 50. That is literally what it's going to do. But if I go outside the scope of the code, let's say, just imagine with me the function I'm doing. Let's say I go outside the block of that function, right? If I try to reassign any variable, any value to the variable that I used in the previous, it's not going to allow me. It's going to, even though I use that same let, it's going to throw me this error that it has already been declared, right? But the thing about var now is that if you use var, if you use var if you use var to give a function, say you give assign a to assign a variable, let's say we use var, still that same var divine can still give it 80. If I still decide to use let divine, let's see what happens. Let divine, okay? So let's come to our documentation from W3 Schools, right? It says the var keyword was used in all JavaScript code from 1995 to 2015. Now remember in our note here it says is an old form of assigning variables, right? It was used in JS from 1995 to 2015, right? And now let and const let and const were added to JavaScript not long ago in 2015, right? So what we're trying to say is var and let literally, does the same thing, right? But the little issue with var then was that if you actually take a code outside of a function and you reassign the name, var will just keep doing its thing. But that's not possible with let, right? And then another key thing you have to note is that, let's say, as time goes on, things can only keep improving. Let's say you go using let's say you go using see, they said var should be used in code written for older browsers. So if you're running programs, JavaScript programs, on how many of us remembers what's the name of that Microsoft browser that they have stopped now? Explorer, Internet Explorer, right? So if you run old JavaScript codes on Internet Explorer, it's going to run very, very fine. But sometimes, because of our code has to be scalable, you realize that some of these our new browsers coming up, some of old JavaScript codes, one way or the other, still runs. Like I said earlier, some. There are sometimes you use a browser, right? There are some advanced, functionalities that will not be displayed in that particular browser, which is what I stated earlier. Like they would always tell you before now that use Chrome, use Google Chrome, right? Because Google Chrome always updates their JavaScript runtime and enables it to constantly and always constantly and always run any new JavaScript improvement. There are countless frameworks now that is even making JavaScript more advanced. There's TypeScript, there's Vue, there is React, right? Making JavaScript more advanced. So if you use browsers that do not support this advanced JavaScript, um it's you may not be able to enjoy the complete functionalities and all that, right? And like we said earlier, let was actually used. Let and const were came about not long ago, since 2015. Now the difference between these three is that const is, like, const. When you hear that word const, of course the first thing that should come to your mind is constant, right? So any variable you assign using the keyword const, what do you think is going to happen? It's an open question to everyone. Anybody can unmute and speak.
Please recap.
When we use const in assigning variables, what do you think happens?
It will be constant, like you cannot redeclare the variable.
Thank you very much. And even as we see here, so whenever we use const, right, we can never reassign values to that variable. So we'll literally get all these errors we were getting
When
here,
you
right?
use const, you're saying,
Mhm. Yes, yes. So only use const to assign values. So I really need to pick course reps here. You'd help me take attendance. So somebody should help me take attendance. Everybody in this call, please um drop your names on the chat box. Every single person. So Divine Ode, Chinonso, I think many of you, your names are actually complete, right? But just in case somebody is not using his name, somebody is ahead like Nancy now. There may be many Nancy's, so the name is not complete. So please, everybody, drop your name on the chat box. Okay, Ode Divine is the first person. So Ode Divine, you help me take every other person's name. There are 10 persons here. One person just left. Someone I just left. So I think you add the person's name too. So just take the attendance for me. Thank you so much, guys. So even like we see in this here, it says that we should only use const, right? Only use const when you never want to change the values again. One of the many things you see people do is they can literally bypass your variables. They see the variables that you use, they reassign another value to your variable. And once they do that, it could literally affect your code. You will just be making your code doing what you don't know or what you didn't send it to do, right? But when you use const, you can never change that value again, right? Anywhere in the code, as far as that variable is set, nobody can change it again. So that's like the importance of all that stuff. And also one more thing, just like he was trying to say earlier, we can actually we can actually um we can actually just without having to use the let or var, and then also always stick to using what let. Okay, unless you have to build for old browsers, so your focus on using variables should only be and const let and const. So most times you end up using let because you don't necessarily have to always use const to assign variables. Okay, so let and const, all that stuff, that's what you would use. So um yeah, I was trying to say, just like Divine was trying to say, you can actually also just assign variables just by doing things like x equals to 25, y equals to 35, z equals to x plus y. You see that still giving us the answer, but a good practice is to always use our variables, at least for now. There will come a time, maybe as we go into advanced JavaScript and functions, you may see the right time not to use all that. And let's go to my sources. Let me work with my index. Yeah, so we can create a new snippet here. What can we call it? Data server.js. I actually gave a simple assignment where I said we should what did I say we should do again? Play around with the major data types and yeah, do something that really works on the major data types. We have number, we have string, we have boolean. So what can I do now? So I'm going to also mix it up with um both our variable assigners. So we can say let name equals to um let name equals to okay, let me also add this prompt. What is your name? What is your name? So you see that by this, do you see I've actually introduced another JavaScript listing to us. Before now, what did we discover? We learned about um what did we
Alert.
learn about alert. Thank you so much. Now let's see what prompt does. What does prompt do? You see this? Have you ever worked with any code that pops up something like this and asks you to enter a value? See, what is your name? I write King Henry. Easy. I hit OK, right? So we can now, okay, if I now come here, if I come to my console now and I say console.log name, what am I going to see? King Henry Easy, because it has, remember what we said log, it's like a log. It stores, temporary stores things going on a browser, right? So um so we have, by this now, we have actually worked on string. This what is your name is a string. This let is okay. So we can, what other thing can we also, okay, we can still add more. Let age, equals to prompt. How old are you? How old are you? And of course, the value we are going to enter, what data type would it be? The
Number.
What's
value
your
we are going
question?
to
Sorry.
enter, the value we will enter in age, what value would it be?
Number. Number.
Number.
Number. Okay. Thank you so much. Um, so what do I do now to also incorporate Boolean? So I would like us to use alerts.
Is
Let's use, since we are working with popping up um feedback to our
you
users
you
directly to their face. You want to say something? Go ahead.
you you might still try the same prompt. Maybe check if the person is married. Yes or no?
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. That would help us save our Boolean, right?
Mm-hmm.
That will help us
I
save
believe so.
our Boolean. So, yes, no. So we would not want the yes, no to be saved as string, because if we enter it, it's going to be saved as string.
Okay.
So we don't want it to save as just string. We want it to save as, Boolean. That means that would also help us start introducing, you know, loop, if else statements, right? Okay, let's try
Yeah.
that.
Conditional.
Let's try that. Let's see. My battery self is low. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have 13%. Let's see how far we can go. Let's marital status equals to prompt. Okay, instead I have a better idea. Let's use alerts. Let's rather, from the age the person gives us, let us write a program that will determine if the person is old enough to be married or not. Oh Jesus, 10%.
Okay. That would be
Alert.
interesting.
Yeah, alert.
Maybe introduce the conditional statement after the age
Yeah, let's
that
see.
age variable. So that
Hi.
if the person is older than 18, then alert so and so.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Else
You are
alert
catching
so
the
and so.
grammar. Oh, my battery, my heart is beating. Hi. Um, welcome. Now see this concatenation I'm going to do. Name. You see that? So I'm calling. I said hi, welcome. So it's going to display a string, hi, welcome, and it's going to use the name the person imputed during the prompt. Okay? Do you
Yeah.
understand this? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah,
welcome. It
understand.
will display the name and say, since you are since you are since you are space, we call the age, since you are space, the age. Since you are space, oh, I'm thinking of how we add the variable now.
Well,
Um,
hi, welcome, name. Since you are probably 20, uh then impute the this thing there.
something
But
is supposed to
I
be.
think this would have made more sense if we had the if statement.
So yeah, we have to. I'm thinking of how we will add
Anyway.
the if statement inside here. If okay, that means we would have to. That means we may have to add the age above. Let's say we want to do something like if age is greater than
That's why
or
I said,
equals to.
yeah, that's why I said I don't know if the if statement can come in here, but if it can, that's fine. If it can, maybe introduce it before the alert so that
Yes,
you can just reference
exactly.
it
That's
inside
what
that
I'm
alert.
saying. If age is greater than equals to what can we say is the right age to marry?
Yes. 20.
Age
23.
Nancy,
18,
Nancy, when did your mom marry?
20.
Your mom married at 20. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You, when did you marry? So for because we are no longer in the 90s, let's just use
Me,
like
I don't marry on time. Oh.
okay, you married at 30,
18.
18.
Yeah.
Uh-uh. Alalima, yeah.
Yes. Me?
So okay, no problem. Let's say if age is greater than equals to
No, I mean the age. You should. Some persons marry that.
if age equals to greater than equal to if age equals to greater than equal to 23.
I think the syntax for that I think you should review the syntax for that age the if statement. Okay, yes. Go on.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Oh,
If age
you
is
are
equal to greater than 22.
eligible to
Now,
get.
if age is yes, I think see where you're having this statement now, alert you are eligible to get married. Then else alert again, something like that. So that if the person imputes an age that is greater than 23 or equal to 23, we get the first alert.
Like this outline.
I think that's what you want to achieve, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So because what the if statement we want to do is just for two, so we are just going to end with else. We are not going to do else if, just else. Else, wait, or you may have to wait a little longer. Okay, so what do you think this? So by this, what we just said now is as far as the age is above